Welcome to Lock It Down Sports. I'm your host, Locke Hoover, and you follow me on X at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on X. You can also check us out at E5280 Sports. That's E5280 Sports. And today on the Lock It Down Sports show, we have a topic about, do the NFL and college football players viewed as the same pay rate? Where the Atlanta Braves go now, and thank you to AMC, kind of. We'll get to that. But first, where do the Braves go? And as we start July, we got a month before the trade deadline. They were 11-15 in the month of June, which is not ideal, obviously. Losing month. You lose 2 out of 3 from the Marlins in that stretch. You lose 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. You can't sweep the Rockies, which you had to. Not a good overall result. Oh yeah, let's compound that with Chris Sale now goes on the 60-day DL. Won't be back till late August. Swellenbach just went on the IL, and he won't be back till August? Maybe mid-August, September, with that elbow fracture. So now you're down your two best pitchers for a while with a struggling offense. What makes you think things are going to be turned around? Your pitching staff, mainly your starting rotation and your so-so bullpen, have kept you where you're at right now. They've held this together, whatever this is with the Braves' current team. You know, Strider, your third best pitcher currently, goes to your number one, which you can live with Strider as your number one, but this year, he was your third best pitcher between Sale and Swellenbach. He now becomes your number one. Holmes, who was your number 4, now becomes your number 2. Does that not scream concerns? Because it does for me. You could pencil in 7 innings, 2 runs or less from Swellenbach. 3 runs or less from Swellenbach. And that gives you length and that gives you depth from Spencer. Saves your bullpen. Strider, I know he's coming back from injuries and getting better, but he's a 6-inning guy really right now at this point. Grant Holmes, 5 1/3, 6-inning guy. Bryce Elder, you don't know. Didi Fuentes, rookie. I don't know if has he gone 5 innings? Maybe he's gone 5 innings in his first start, I believe. That might be the deepest he's gone. Not ideal. Obviously, wear and tear in the bullpen. Elder, 5 innings, 5 1/3, sometimes 6 innings. Wear and tear in the bullpen. Who's replacing Spencer Swellenbach? We don't know yet. They called him up a bullpen arm to take his roster spot in Austin Cox. So do you go with a minor league veteran that you've kind of got down there in AAA? Do you go with one of your guys you like seeing in AA? Or do you pull up Herschel Waldrop, who we know is definitely not ready and pitched pretty good in AAA? First overall pick. We saw a little bit of time last year, but clearly he wasn't ready. Do you pull him up and see what he's got at the big league level? Let him learn. Let him throw some of the bigs. He's learning. He's still developing some of his stuff in AAA, but do you want to rush that progress? We've seen it before with Atlanta, though. They've rushed that progress, pulled some guys up. AJ Smith-Shawver, we've definitely seen now with Didi Fuentes. We know the Braves know he's not ready. But at this point, why not just keep him up in the big leagues? Um, it's what you've already done. Maybe you turn to the swelling block where Spencer's first 4, 5, 6 starts not very good, and then we see what he did after that his rookie season, and then of course this year. Now, like I said, the trade deadline's about a month away. You need to add a lot more now than you did. Before it was just a bullpen, just about 2 bullpen guys. Now you need to add at least a starting pitcher or two. Currently, you're 11 games out of the division. 11 games out of the division. 6.5 out of the wild card with a lot of for that last spot. 6.5 out for the last spot in the wild card. You're in the situation where you're currently battling to stay at a 4th place to be ahead of the Miami Marlins. You're closer to the Marlins in 4th place than you are the second place Mets and the Phillies. Think about that. You're closer to the Fish than you are the Phils and the Metropolitans. People want to keep referring to 2021 and how they were playing. This is a completely different situation. So I just did the start of July. In 2021, the Braves were 38-41. At the start of July, the most games they were back was 8 games in the division, and that was June 16th. Philly, at this point, was 37-41. The Mets, who finished 3rd, were leading the division at 42-35. So that gives you a little bit of context to where the Braves sit now. If you're trying to compare this to 2021, the Mets and Phillies are playing a lot better. You're playing worse. You're way more games behind. You're 3 more games behind in the hole out of first place deeper into the season in July, not June. I think, and I've kind of mentioned this earlier in a previous podcast, I think they're going to sell. I think they should sell. And the only conversation would be, what if you get to within 6 games at the trade deadline? Maybe you reassess where your starting pitching staff is. I mean, I think you know what you're getting from Elder at this point. He's a 5 starter. And that's it. He's a perfectly fine 5 starter, but the Braves need him to be a 3 starter right now. They need him to be a number 3 type starter. He's a number 5. Grant Holmes, he's a perfect number 4 starter. That's fine. Going into this season, he was your 4 or your 5 starter. So that's really what he is. But you need him to be a number 2. Also, you've got Spencer Strider, who's not 7 innings, 12 Ks, 1 run. That's not him right now. He's getting there. But so you don't know exactly what you're getting with Spencer Strider. You can't write him down. And then who knows who's filling your other 2 spots. You got to reassess that even if you get within 6 games. Do we have the horses to potentially get there? When it comes to selling, there's really not a lot of pieces on this team. You got Marcel, but even him, he's got an injured hip, and he's told everybody that. And you've seen it in his production. He's struggling. You got Raisel Iglesias, who's also a free agent at the end of the year, who struggled early, pitching better of late, and sometimes that's what teams need to see. You know what? He's pitched good the last month, the last 3 weeks, things like that. Rafael Montero, He's a depth guy for a good club. Ellie De Los Santos. Once again, another guy, another depth piece for these contending teams. All those contracts are up. Then you get free agents in 2027 as Aaron Bummer, and then Pierce Johnson's got a club option. I really don't see them trading either of those guys because they're going to want to contend in 2027. They're going to want them as part of the bullpen pieces. If not, that could be potentially a lot of bullpen arms to replace. Saying you trade, well, even regardless if you trade them or not, Iglesias, Montero, De Los Santos, they're all free agents at the end of the year. That's a lot of holes in the pen. Trade Bummer, trade Johnson, De Los Santos, Montero, Iglesias. That's 5 guys out of the pen this year. And 2 guarantees going into next year that you'd have to replace, not counting all the other, at least 3 other arms. Bummer maybe, based on how he's being used the last few weeks. But Johnson, no, he's one of your high leverage guys. I don't see them still trading him. So for me, you've really got 4 guys you can trade that you might get something for, but you're still not going to get a huge haul. You're not getting 4 prospects for our Marcell Ozuna, or 3 or 2 good prospects for Raisel Iglesias. I mean, you might get one solid prospect in a flyer, maybe for Marcell and our Iglesias. Montero and De Los Santos, you get 2 flyers and see what happens. But that's it. That's really what the Braves are at when it comes to selling. I mean, buying, they don't have a lot of weapons where they do, but they're all in low A, in high A. Their double A, triple A is pretty bare. So they'd be dipping into their low A, high A, complex league type guys. That's where their high potential guys are if they go and get a piece, really. As far as on the bat side, they've got pitching galore. They've got that all up and down the system from AAA all the way down to low A and single A. That's not a problem. The pitching is there, so that's where they trade from. They trade from the strength of pitching more times than not, where the current staff is set up. So I wanted to say going into July was kind of determination. Yeah, maybe get a few more weeks to still assess. Yes, Jerson Profar just came back, and maybe he's that spark. Maybe, but when you've got players like Ozzy, set your 7, 8, 9 not hitting, Ozzy, Nick Allen, Michael Harris not hitting. I mean, what are you going to do? That 7, 8, 9 is a black hole in your lineup right now. So that's 3 basically outs right there that are easy outs. Now, I'm not faulting Nick Allen. That's not his fault. He came here to hit 230 to 240 and play Gold Glove defense is what he's doing. So that's not on him. But he's still an easy out in the lineup. So your 7, 8, 9, it's easy outs in your lineup right now. So that's a problem as well when it comes to assessing where this team truly is from a competitive standpoint and comes to a playoff standpoint. Now, I was always curious how this was going to break down and where the money was going to go and how it was going to be allocated when it came to NIL spending breakdowns. Football Scoop does a good job breaking this all down. Goes into a little bit more detail on the Power 4 conferences, the non-Power 4 conferences, how basketball split up, how and schools with non-football, but so it gives you complete breakdown. But I want to look at the main thing and kind of do some comparisons here. So for the NIL spending, I'm talking about the average pool allocation for the four power conference breakdowns of the $20.5 million allocation that they get from the NIL and all that. This is all, of course, remember this, once again, this is all average, but 65.6% of that money is going to football, 20.3% going to basketball, 6.6% to women's basketball, and then 7.5% to all other sports. Of course, I think we all know where the top money in football is going. 16.9% is going to quarterbacks, and by that's the entire position. So, you might have your starter making $1 million, and then your other three, the rest, something like that. So that averaged out to be $2.27 million for the quarterback position. Wide receiver was number 2 at 15.4% of the allocation at $2.07 million. The offensive line came in third at 14.2%, so $1.91 million. And the defensive line at 13.7% at $1.84 million in allocation. Granted, once again, like I said, this is just average. Can be different from, all schools. And I'm sure a Georgia offensive lineman is getting more money than, say, a Mississippi State or Boston College offensive lineman. I mean, just look at their programs and the revenue they bring in and all that. So it's got me kind of curious. I was like, okay, how does this compare? How does this break down when it comparing the NFL to college football when it comes to distribution? Not much of a surprise here. And this is total contracts money made in the NFL for based on pure contracts of like money. Quarterbacks are number 1 in the NFL model, not a surprise. Number 2 in the NFL being paid the most is the defensive end. Number 3 was wide receiver. Number 4 was defensive tackles. So then if you want to, technicalities, number 4 would actually be comparing the NFL and college football. Number 4 would actually be the left tackle, since they're combining defensive ends and defensive tackle as defensive linemen. So the NFL spends more money on the defensive line than college football, and they lean more, as college football leans more offensively with their top breakdowns and paying. But it's the NFL. It's been said for years. Get the quarterback to lead your team. Get a guy that can sack the quarterback and push and make pressure, make him uncomfortable. And we've seen that, especially now, for like 8 to 10 years now, with the defensive tackle, the interior lineman that can get 7 to 12 sacks. The Grady Jarrett's, the Ndamukong Suh's, those type of Aaron Donald as well, that from the interior line can push and get sacks and wreak havoc. Guys that can get after the quarterback, succeed well and get paid. And that's the NFL model. And then you have the left tackle. The guy that protects your quarterback, that keeps him upright, would be number 4 technically as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting if there would be the correlations. Of course, the quarterback's number one, but it's like, what about like where does your receiver fall? Where does these other positions rank as well comparative to the NFL and college? Now, of this 20.5 million NIL, of course, this is not all the money the kids are getting from schools, but it's just from schools paid NIL deals. So yes, they're still getting sponsorships. They're still getting more money coming in because we've seen all the money spent by Oregon, by Texas, by Ohio State, all these other big teams, etc. And Ryan Day, I think, even come out and said, yeah, I got to have about a $35 million roster to win. So that's still a little bit short. That 20.5 million is a little bit short from that $35 million, $40 million roster that he's saying he needs and has to win and compete these days. So I thought it was an interesting little breakdown. There's a lot of good stuff in that that article, that piece that I might do later, a show in the future, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. Now, I don't know if this is like a thank you to a movie theater, kind of. I mean, I guess kind of thank you, AMC, but not really, I guess, because they're adding more commercials and trailers before the movie. But they are telling you what time the movie actually starts if you buy your ticket online. So they'll say, well, movie will start 25 to 30 minutes after the original showtime. So if you had a 1 o'clock showtime, be there by 1:20, 1:25. You should be good. You sit through 5 to 7 minutes, however long it is, minutes of commercials, trailers, whatever, and it's movie time. I don't know what it is now. Is it 10? I feel like 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20, something like that before of commercials, trailers, that sort of thing before the movie starts. So moviegoers gotta keep that in mind. 20 to 25 to 30 minutes at AMC's starting very, very soon. So I guess it's kind of a thank you, AMC, for telling us when the movie's going to start, but also kind of annoying. You're adding more time before the movie starts. I guess it's a thank you, kind of. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a rock and a hard place, right? But at least they let you know that, hey, be here 25 to 30 minutes after the original showtime to enjoy your movie. As always, you can follow me on at Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. I'm Locke Hoover. You're listening to Lock It Down Sports on E5280 Sports. I'll talk to you next week.